got boned so hard on that Kuniev last week.
Yeah, we did. Kuniev, that we don't even. We'll talk about that in a second, guys. We're back. First time doing a show on a Friday. Picks by Pegasus, Key, Dravy, special guest Pepe, Silvia. Thanks for joining us, bro. It's gonna be a fun one. We got UFC 317, Topuria versus Oliveira. Last week, interesting card overall. I mean, the reffing was horrible to start. Kuniev got robbed. Anything else stand out to anyone? Iron Turtle, that fight.
Oh my god, bro! I had the round 2-3 prop like pretty big. I was so mad, dude. I got fuck on that one. But yeah, Cunha was a bad decision too. It's kind of annoying. You bet like plus 2xx. The guy should have won, and then they give to the other guy. So it's really annoying. But it is what it is. And sometimes you look at the end of your slate. I lost money on the UFC last week, and I was like, if he got the decision, I win money. So it's really annoying. But yeah, it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it.
All right. Let's see. Here we go. Spreads of the week. I mean, let's talk about Co for a second, man.
Oh, that was amazing. Yeah, I got the money line. He was I got like, I think it was plus 400, something like that. Crazy price. Yeah, it was plus 400. Crazy. The guy is really good.
Yes, we like your profile picture. I don't know who that is, but I like it.
It's I know who it is. I forgot his name.
Yeah, BTL, NFL Draft, and PFL. Yeah, we're going to get this done hopefully by the start of PFL, so you guys won't have to be bored waiting for that. Yep, Fiziev and Nazim. Nazim looked good. Fiziev.
That was a banger. Nazim fight was a banger.
Yeah, we were due for one like that.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we'll just hop right into this here. First fight of the night is let me find this. Jonathan Diniz versus Alvin Hines. Diniz 8-1, 34, 6'4", 79-inch reach. Hines 7-0, making his debut, 33, coming from LFA, I want to say. Line on these two gentlemen, you get Diniz minus. Wow, he got steamed after. He's now anywhere from minus 375 to minus 450. Hines is plus 350. All right. You said this is your Super Bowl, Pepe. Take it away. What do you think? Diniz by knockout round 1, right?
Probably. I was going to say Siri play levels by Big X the Plug. I just think it's like a pretty obvious levels fight here. And, Hines isn't going to be able to grapple Diniz. Diniz is just going to he's just levels above him on the feet, the speed, the height, the reach, everything about, his technique, his accuracy. Like, I feel like Hines is drawing pretty thin. I said earlier in the week, like, Diniz minus 450 is probably where it should be, and that's where it is now, and it makes complete sense.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Diniz probably round 1. Hines never fought a striker like Diniz. Diniz starts quick. Obviously gets taken down in the middle of the cage. He's kind of fucked, but other than that, I think this is just, like you said, levels. Should be pretty straightforward. Key, anything different from you?
Yeah, I snagged early prices on Diniz. He hung for like multiple days at like minus 200, minus 182, Bet Online, FanDuel, DraftKings. So I got in on early prices and played through apps too. I think that Diniz, as Pepe already said, there's a levels difference. Hines is fun as hell, though. I mean, I watched some of his interviews. I mean, he definitely had more teachers in his classrooms than classmates, but I mean, the dude is, just fun as hell. So I hope that he gets a couple more runs at it because I think that he can be some good TV. And there is a world that he ends up lasting long enough because I've been personally underwhelmed at Diniz so far in this run, but like I said, the speed is just obviously different here. I think round 1 KO makes sense. Hines shouldn't be here, but it'll be a fun one.
Yeah, it's gonna be funny when they announce Hines and Dogfather steps into the cage and he steps up to fight Diniz. Dravhy, what do you got for this one?
Yeah, I think Diniz probably gonna knock him out, but I think there's also a world where like this fight turned on to be like a meme, and a weird fight over 15, but I think Diniz should get the KO. Diniz is hittable, you know, he's making his debut, and it looked like a level fight to me. Diniz, obviously, a really good striker. He has power, but sometimes he can play with his foot a little bit, it seems like. So, and he's not like the highest volume guy either. So I have a feeling he's going to knock him out, but maybe like in round 2 or something like that. The money line got steam, but like maybe you look to play Diniz KO 2-3, something like that. The price are kind of nice, but yeah, it could be any round. I think he should knock this guy out, but yeah, it could turn out to be like a fun fight. But I think I think this dude is kind of fun, like he said, but yeah, I don't think he's really good, so we'll see.
All right, next fight, biggest favorite in a long time. I was just talking about Wellmaker being it, and then now we got Jacoby Smith. All right, Jacoby Smith. 10-0. He goes by Kobe. I didn't know that. That's kind of crazy. 10-0, 29 years old, OSU wrestler, state champion. Nico Price, old man, 16-8. You can get Jacoby at a discount of minus 2,500. You get Nico Price plus 1,200. Key, I mean, is there any value on the underdog here?
No.
You're putting Smith in the parlays this week?
Of course. I played the under 1.5. I think that's the best way to play it, minus 260.
Yeah,
One of those prices is wrong. Either minus 2,500 is wrong or the under price is wrong.
I think under's somewhat fair now at this point. Early numbers were good to get in on, but limits were shit on Bet Online whenever it was only there. But I think Kobe gets him out of there in round 1. Nico Price has been looking washed. I bet Robbie Lawler against Nico Price, and I mean that looked like a fake knockout, but Nico has went on to later show how washed he really is. So yeah, I think that Kobe gets him out of there. This is, I mean, shame the UFC for even booking this, honestly.
Pepe, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I don't have anything to add. Like, the prices make complete sense to me.
Yeah, this is going to be disgusting. I think it's, like I said, unders to play here. Parlay it with something. Dravhy, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's really a disgusting fight because, you know, Smith is a good prospect, honestly. He has a good future ahead of him, and, you know, they're booking him against Nico Price, who's, you know, I'm sure Key's going to talk about it, but, like, the guy Knees is so cooked, and, you know, we know how washed he is. He used to be durable, but, like, he's at the end of his career. So, yeah, it should be a knockout. It's just a matter of, do you think he goes over or under? I think it goes under, maybe KO 1-2, but I think he's going to get him out of there in the first round. I don't really see a sub, so maybe you just play KO1. I'm not sure if that's plus money. Gonna check, but I don't even think it is. So
Jacoby Smith to win in round 1 is minus 150.
Yeah, so they're really onto it, honestly. So yeah, it's just a pass overall. I think he should be a big favorite like that, but, you know, no need to parlay that. Icepeg will normally do, but he's not doing it this week. So,
dude, he's not even. It's crazy. It's crazy because Price isn't even that old, but he in fight years he's like got a decade on top of his actual age.
Yeah, I agree with that. The knees and all of that. He's so quick.
And then, yeah, I mean, I was on a show doing a panel with Couch Warrior and 138 yesterday. They're talking about Jacoby Smith sub. The line's pretty good for his sub, but he's never had one in his career. So I don't know. What do you guys think of that?
I feel like that's just being contrarian, just for the sake of being contrarian. With not,
if there's anywhere where Nico's dangerous, it is the mat, and that's the only thing that he can do here.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna submit him personally, but
all right, that was easy. Next fight: Terrence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borishev. McKinney 16-7, Borishev's 8-5-1. Line on these two gentlemen, you get McKinney anywhere. You get him minus 155. You can get Borishev plus 135. Dravhy, what do you think? Money's now come in on Borishev. McKinney seems bettable at minus 150. Usually the system play is under 1.5. Under 1.5 is minus 240. What do you think of that?
Yeah, honestly, I have a weird feeling about it. I'm normally always playing as under 1.5, but this one, I think it could go over, honestly, just because he's going to get free takedowns. He's going to get the back early. But we know Borishev, he's a good survivor. He's hard to finish early on, but I think his durability is declining. And we know McKinney is really dangerous in round 1. He can, he can knock him out. But Borishev's a much better striker, more technical. way better cardio, obviously, and he's way more durable. I would say like he has the much better chin. It's just that he's much tougher. He has that dog in him, right? So if the things are not going his way, he can still win, which is Mckinney. If he's facing adversity, he's going to lose the fight. But yeah, the way I see it is I think Mckinney is going to dominate round one, getting takedowns. And then does he sub him in round one? I don't think he's going to KO him. I think sub is more likely, honestly, because normally he's kind of smart in the way that like he's taking guys down that he should take down. And, he's striking with the guys he should strike against. So I think in this fight, he's probably going to go for takedowns, knowing that Borshev has, no takedown defense. I will say his takedown defense looked better against Tom Nolan, but like Tom Nolan is not a good wrestler, but I think he did a better job defending there compared to what he usually does. And Mike Davis also training with Mckinney, so I assume they're going to be ready and preparing something, with the takedowns and all of that, because Mike Davis, as we know, shoot multiple takedowns in that fight, and he didn't have an easy time on the feet against Slava. So McKinney's going to know the game plan here, but yeah, he's live to knock him out, to submit him in round one, and he's also live to die in round 1 or 2. So the under is probably going to hit, but I could just see McKinney getting takedowns and Slava just getting back up, McKinney take him down again, something like that. But he's probably gonna gas if he does that. So that's a weird fight to me. I don't feel like I have the best read on it, but I think McKinney's gonna win, probably under 1.5. But I could honestly see a world this time around where he gets multiple takedowns over 15 minutes, like 3-4 takedowns and like 2 body lock, and you ride the decision. But it's unlikely. I'm not gonna bet that. But Slava is pretty hard to finish, and I don't know. McKinney just seems like, when's the last time he fought? He took a longer break than, not really, February. Yeah, so I think he's gonna finish him in round 1. I'm going back and forth here, but like Slava is live. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not betting McKinney at this price.
Gotcha. What do you think, Pepe? You got anything different here? Do you like the under or do you like the over?
I don't know, man. I think the early under prices were probably good at like minus 170, but you never want to lay too much juice on under 1.5 to be like, especially because Slava has shown that he has a ton of heart, and that you're really gonna have to fucking kill him if you're gonna beat him. But I do kind of agree with you where I have the feeling that McKinney does get it done. Like Slava is just such a terrible grappler. I mean, Nolan's not like a good wrestler grappler, and McKinney, while fresh, actually has skills, and he's gonna have the strength advantage. He's gonna be able to throw him around, dude. He can crack him on the feet early. And you can only like be in those terrible positions so many times before and it's like, oh yeah, he got TKO'd from being in a bad position and not being able to get out. So yeah, I don't know. I would never bet Slava pre. It would only be McKinney or pass, and then look to live on Slava if he gets outside of round 1. It seems pretty obvious to play it that way.
Yeah. Key, anything different?
Nah, nothing different here. This is a pass fight completely for me.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm on the under already. That's my way to play it. I think it's the best way. I honestly don't even mind a money line bet on McKinney here. I just think Slava's kind of done at this rate. One thing I brought up is like everyone's like, oh, McKinney is live to get knocked out. When's the last time Vyacheslav got a KO? Does anyone know the answer to that question? I asked this yesterday.
Probably 2023, maybe. He got it against Misha Tate, something like that. I don't know.
2022 was the last time he's found a finish. So I don't know. Obviously, McKinney's chin's not the best in the world, but seems pretty fair. McKinney probably wins this at minus 150. I always said like minus 140. If we get there, more money comes in on Borshev, I'll play it. Obviously a hypothetical, but yeah, we'll do comments real quick because we're kind of blowing through these.
Yeah, that's the one.
Under. I saw this. Where's this message? I actually just took these 2 bets on Fanatics. That's crazy that they have Diniz round 1 KO at plus 260, and they have Jacoby round 1 KO plus 150. All the other books have these minus.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
I just played those both. That was a good call. Thanks, Matt Smith. Yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. We'll go to our next one here. I think our next one is a girls' fight. Viviane Arujo versus Tracy Cortez. Cortez 11-2. Viviane Arujo 13-6. Line on these two ladies, you can get Arujo plus 215 to plus 220. Cortez minus 255 to minus 260. I parlayed the over. Key, is that nasty to do at minus 600?
The answer is yes, but
why? I think it's minus 800 now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
never going to
King.
stop you, and you're never going to listen. But I think that here, I'm not a fan of Cortez. Never have been. I played Rose for like 4 units in that matchup versus her. I just think that she's an unserious fighter, and it has nothing to do. One, coming in the cage with lashes is hilarious to me. But the lack of activity. I mean, she fights once a year. Seems like she'd rather spend more time Instagram modeling, building her brand than actually staying active and going on a run, which I think is, I mean, there's the same girl who beat Jasmine Jastovicius. I mean, that's a really solid win. And probably, I mean, by far her best win in the UFC and really the only notable win. And that's momentum that she could have had, but yet again, it's still just once a year she comes out and fights and then goes back to posting pictures of her in the gym and ass pictures on Instagram. So for me, it's just like a hard to know. Arujo, she comes in to fight. She's a dog. I'm pissed that I missed out on the Karine Silva fade. As everybody knows, I am Karine Silva's biggest hater. So the fact that I missed out on the fade is just feels disgusting. But I think this ends up being a competitive fight. It's not like Cortez holds a bunch of finishing upside here. There's a 15-minute fight versus two girls who were somewhat well matched. And I don't think that either ends up looking like a wide favorite here. I think Cortez's favorite at this rate just off of youth, athleticism, and it's not like she's going to top time her to death. So to me, this is a pass, dog or pass, very clearly. Parlaying Cortez is just you're horny. That's all that tells me. So Arujo or pass here.
Yeah, I like. I was trying to get spread of the week on Arujo originally, but they opened it at minus 220, so that's nasty. But like I said, I parlayed the over. He just asked. Yeah, I parlayed the over at minus 600 earlier in the week. I think it's like minus 800 now.
It's minus 625. Don't try to act like you got.
Oh, what are you giving the lowest line available? What's the bet online price?
It's minus 625.
Okay, well, then I lied. All right, Pepe, what do you think for this fight?
I think the only way that it finishes is probably an Arujo submission, and I do think that's possible because she has came pretty close in multiple fights. She had Karine Silva in a deep armbar in round 2, so now Cortez's main path to victory is to wrestle. Okay, so now you take her down. You're a wrestler that's like he said, she's a bit overrated. Her boxing is okay, but her wrestling is decent too. I do think her wrestling is decent, but like her jiu-jitsu is pretty like untested, man. Like she was submitted before she got to the UFC, and Arujo she hasn't gotten a submission in the UFC, but she got close on Ribas. She got close on Karine Silva, who are both way better grapplers than Cortez. And there was like that phantom tap against Chookagian. So I do think there's some regression to eventually Arujo hitting the submission. I was hoping the books were sleeping on it and they would hang like 18-1 or something, but clearly they're not. The best available price is 12-1, which is, I don't know. I'm not like super excited to play it. But yeah, Arujo is definitely in the side. Like Cortez has not looked like a big favorite in any of her UFC fights, like including the Justine Kish fight, which like she only has a couple wins since then, which is kind of crazy. Like, yes, the Jasmine win is aging well, but yeah, I don't want to make excuses for that, but Arujo is like not Arujo is not like a walk in the park. Like she's a difficult fight. Like Cortez is really gonna have to be like on point to win this clean. So I think it's probably 29-28 either way. And then a tiny bit of submission equity for the Arujo side.
All right. We'll do. Did everyone go?
I didn't do it yet, but yeah, I don't have much to say, honestly. I think the line is a bit wide, but I don't want to take the shot because of the age difference. Honestly, it's the only reason. But
women aren't old at 38 in MMA.
I mean, is Arujo going to be?
Arujo done been through some shit though. To be fair.
And she's been cracking some fights. Not saying that's going to happen here, but like she's been to a lot of decision, all of that, and I just think that like in a year and a half, in 2 years, she's probably not going to be in the UFC anymore. So I don't think she's, I think she's close to being done, but I don't think she's washed per se. Like she has some close fight recently, and I think this, if I ignore the age and I just look at the matchup, I really see it like play out close, honestly. But gun to my head, I think Tracy's going to win. I just think she's going to maybe throw a little bit more volume. But I think Arujo is going to land the bigger shots. So yeah, it's just a fight to me where I think Cortez probably outstrike her on volume, but like maybe get a takedown or two. But yeah, could Arujo like get on top and do something? Like she's good. She's a good grappler. So yeah, there's value on the line. I'm not going to bet it personally. I think Cortez win. And I'm not a fan of his over fighting style, but I'm hyped when she fight and for different reasons. But I think she's fun to watch.
Yeah. All right, Key, answer some questions here.
I don't know if I would say max out her potential because it feels like we never have truly seen a real peak. If Jazz is the peak of her career, then that's tough for somebody who's been rated as a solid prospect for a while. But would you take depending on what the line is, you have to tell me the line. But I do think that Cortez is relatively within her peak now, and I don't see her making a top 5 run or a champ run anytime soon. Again, she fights one time a year. Like it's just impossible.
Yeah. Do you take her takedowns?
I wouldn't be surprised if she pivoted over to like an influencer type role and like lose. Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if she lost this fight and was like, oh, I need a break or some shit like that. And like, went to like the influencer route on Instagram. Would not be surprised at all.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Alvin Hines is in our chat right now. It's crazy he's telling me to lock in. He should be locking in for his fight tomorrow. I don't know what he's doing here. I think other than that, her by decisions minus 225, I think. And then
1.5 is a solid line.
Okay. 115 for that over 1.5.
Hey, you wanted to play Tracy decision early in the week, I remember.
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting it to be minus 225.
What the fuck were you expecting it to be?
I don't know. Minus 150.
Go process.
Yeah, wishful thinking. All right, next fight. This is going to be one of the bangers on the card. It's Amil versus Jose Delgado. Delgado is 9-1. Amil 11-0. Line on these two gentlemen, you can get Hyder. Now he's plus 125 to plus 130. Delgado is anywhere from minus 145 to minus 150. Dravhy, have you go first? I mean, this is going to be a war. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. This is a really good fight, honestly. If this end up being a war, and if this end up being a war over 15, I think Amil's going to win. But, like, he's going to run into some shit here. Like, Delgado knees are nasty, and the way Amil is so hittable and the way he walk into punches and all of that, I think Delgado is really slick. So he's live to catch him, especially, like, early on. And Delgado also has a tricky submission game, and Amil, I don't think his BJJ is really good. Like, he could get takedowns maybe, but like Delgado BJJ is crafty. I don't think people really know it because he has not really shown it in the UFC, but he has a tricky submission game. Obviously, he's training at MMA Lab, really good camp for this weight class, and I just think the guy is way more dangerous. And it's a good fight because, you know, he has 100% finish rate, and Amil is a dog and really durable. So, but he also get hit a lot. So that's really a clash of style. The way I see it though is when I look at it, Delgado kind of, the way I see it is he needs space sometimes to get his game going, and Amil is just gonna be in his face and, you know, constant pressure. So that could cause him some issues. And but I think Delgado is way more dangerous though, especially like when they're both fresh. I think Delgado's gonna land big, and he could put him down. But if he doesn't, and Emil is still there pressuring and landing volume, because, you know, William Gomez, I bet Emil against Gomez, and Gomez is not easy to land on. He has really good footwork. I don't think Delgado footwork and defense is as good. And like he landed a shit ton on Gomez. I know it was in the small cage, but still, Gomez is also more proven at this level. You know, Delgado not really proven, especially if he's getting tested. So I think it's probably going to turn on being a dogfight. But I'm just too concerned about Delgado catching him and the power difference, and the fact, like, watching how much Emil get hit and how hard Delgado is, and he's kind of a sniper with his knees and all of that. I don't want to get involved, but it's dog or pass on the money line. But yeah, gun to my head, I'm going to pick Delgado, but I could really see Emil get it done. I think the over could also be interesting, but like it's fading Delgado 100% finishing stats. So that could be sharp, but it's going to be a sweat if you bet that over. Like it's plus money. I think it could be a good bet. They both seems durable to me. And Delgado, I have a feeling he might slow down in round 3 if it's like a high pace. His cardio is not bad, but he's never fought someone that fight like a crazy pace like Emil does.
What about Hyder Emil taking him down?
That's possible, but I don't think he's going to control him.
No, he doesn't have to control him. So my bet is Hyder Emil plus 3.5. I almost made this spread of the week. It's minus 115. You're getting a guy who's going to throw more volume, push a pace, be in his face the whole time, possibly get takedowns. Like, I don't know. Seems pretty, like that's what you want. Hyder Emil is the type of guy you want to bet on at dog odds, and at a spread at minus 115, he's got to win one round. I think he does that. Probably the later round 3, but wouldn't be surprised if he stole the second. So I don't know. Spread seems great to me. I think the price is still there pretty openly. What do you think, Pepe?
I think the sharpest angle is the overs in this fight. Like, yeah, Delgado has a bunch of finishes, but he's fighting like really low level guys like Connor Matthew. Like you don't, I don't have to name everyone he's fought. Like they're just really low level. And could he finish Hyder? Yeah, he could, but like you're gonna have to put him out. You know, like he would have to go out cold because Hyder Emil obviously, you know, his striking defense sucks ass. So like he's open to be hit, but he has to be like club and sub because like I don't think Delgado has like the touch of death or anything. I think if he hurt him, Emil would get knocked down and then fight back through it. And you know, I don't know, man. The plus money for the overs, and I think the big cage is going to have Delgado on the back foot a little bit, trying to just pick him off as he shoots forward. And I don't really think Hyder Emil has like that much power, to be honest with you. Like he crashes forward. He doesn't really sit on his punches that much. So I could see there being like some clinching, some takedowns, kind of like a war where, you know, people who like just think that because it's high pace that like the under is going to hit are going to be like, oh, yo, I can't believe it wasn't finished. But like it's one of those fights where it probably doesn't finish at like more than 50%. That's my read though.
No, yeah, I agree.
I could see that. The over got smashed. It was like plus 140 at some point. It's plus 100 now, it seems, on Bet Online.
Yeah. Key, what are you thinking?
Yeah, pick-wise, I say Delgado. I was hoping that Emil would end up favored or something, and I'd end up getting to get on Delgado money line, but I think this is probably priced around fair now. Yeah, any Hyder fight is a messy fight, so this will be fun. Perfect fight for a card like this.
Gotcha. All right. This is Dogfather thinking he's bigger than Alvin Hines. Kind of crazy, I think. Delgado, cleaner striker. That's fair, but throws less volume. Prop Hawks on the under. Dog is still looking for his father. We've got Big Steve still talking about the Tracy fight.
Actually, Dogfather is bigger than Alvin Hines.
But are we talking about height or size?
Well,
I know he's a string bean. He's tall, but he's skinny.
A string bean.
Yeah, he's a string bean. We know he doesn't hit the gym. Great fight. I agree.
Yeah, this is a really good one.
Yeah, well, I think there's going to be a lot of bangers on this card.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Guys, by the way, like, comment, subscribe. We do this for free every week. We appreciate it. Join our Discord. Link is below. We're always in there talking. We're making everyone a lot of money. Hop in. It's free. Jack Hermansson versus Gregory Rodriguez. Robocop is 16-6. Hermansson is 24-8. Odds on these two gentlemen, you can get Hermansson anywhere from plus 185 to plus 190. You can get Gregory Rodriguez anywhere from minus 220 to minus 230. Pepe, do you think Gregory Rodriguez knocks out Hermansson in round 1, or does Hermansson win round 3 and pull it together?
I don't know. It's hard to say for sure, because I feel like with Robocop, we've gotten some inconsistency from him. Like sometimes he comes out gun blazing and he looks like a world beater, but gasses. And then other times he's just like a little more conservative and, takes the, low volume approach, kind of like the Petrosian fight. Sometimes he grapples. You really never know what you're going to get with Rodriguez as far as game plan. He doesn't really strike me as the most intelligent fighter either. So it's really hard to tell, whether he's going to get an early KO or a decision. But I think the money line is pretty justified, honestly, given that Hermansson is at 37 and he's coming off shoulder surgery and he's got not a lot of power at all. Actually, like pretty fucking low. When you look at the division, he's probably within the bottom 15% of
do you want to know
danger.
A crazy stat? Yeah,
what?
Do you want to know a crazy stat about that? Trying to guess how many knockdown he has over I think 20 UFC fights.
He's got none, right?
0. It's across 17 UFC fights. Kind of crazy.
That is crazy for a middleweight too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like even like a shitty middleweight eventually gets one knockdown. So yeah, I just think it's a kind of not a great fight for Hermansson, because Rodriguez can gas out potentially or just be dumb and like chase him around to get outpointed. It's a really thin margin way of winning fights at middleweight.
Yeah. Key, what do you think?
Yeah, if this was a 5-round main event in the Apex, then I can understand this line a little bit more. But this being a 3-round fight, Hermansson is a slow starter. And not only in the Piper fight, but throughout his whole career. We've seen tendencies of him being slow, especially in the striking. So I think that this is a fight where I don't really see Robocop. One, I don't think that he's going to gas out. So that automatically gives him a win equity here, in my opinion. And then 2, I don't see a way that Hermansson hurts him. Like Hermansson has thrived on jabbing guys, kicking, and then grappling when necessary. He's not going to be able to grapple Robocop. And on the feet, outside of Robocop literally just death gassing randomly, which Robocop isn't a guy who doesn't stop fight. I mean, the guy continues to fight. Round 3, I mean, you could argue that he was winning that round versus Cannonier in round 3 up until that elbow. That cut him open at the end of round 3, and that eventually led to the finish in round 4. But he isn't a guy that, I mean, the Cheaty fight, same thing. I mean, he's a guy that fights through, so it's not like he's a quitter. And honestly, I'm very surprised that Piper wasn't able to put together another winning round in that fight, because Hermansson really just didn't do much. I mean, he jabbed, he kicks, and I think the Robocop is just a bowling ball downhill. I mean, it's just disgusting how whenever he's truly, and as Pepe mentioned, there are some inconsistencies. Whenever he comes out guns blazing, he looks like a world beater for that time. But then there are times where he does come out with a little bit more of a measured approach, and I think that he's fine to win even in a measured approach here. But I think that he looks like a really, really wide favorite if he does come out guns blazing. Jack is 37 years old. He's been dropped early by guys multiple times before. Shoulder surgery is never good to hear at these ages. He's a guy that's never had any pop. Robocop's not going to have to respect anything coming into the pocket. So for me, I think that Robocop probably finds a KO somewhat early. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a 3-round decision either. I think that Hermansson's margins are super thin here, and I get it. Hermansson's a high level fighter, and I get it as to why this line isn't blown out. So there's respect on that end, but I think matchup and stylistically, I think this is an absolute nightmare for Hermansson.
Okay. Drav, what do you got here?
Yeah, I also agree. I just think the hardware for a Robocop is massive compared to Hermansson. Hermansson's normally, trying to kick on the outside, jabbing, just out volume guys, and this in the big cage, it could be good, but like Robocop power difference here is just massive. And like you mentioned, Jack always starts slow in fights, so he's gonna have to start like either down the round or he's not gonna have the chance to start because Robocop can be a really hard guy to deal with early if you're not ready, if you're not in the fight. He hit really hard, and the opposite of Hermansson, he has massive power for the division. Like his power is insane, his size is like he could be at 205 honestly. Like, and the narrative this week will be that like his cardio is shit, he's a gasser, and all of that. Hermansson's gonna dominate round 3, and I just disagree with it honestly. I think his cardio is fine. He could slow down in round 3, but he still carry power over 15 minutes. And to me, that's going to be enough. And I really think the biggest, like, I think the biggest thing that Jack could do here is like win a round and not get finished. But I don't think he's going to win 2 rounds, or I really don't think he's going to finish Rodriguez. And normally Robocop struggle against guy that can, put on a lot of volume, which Petrosian did, but also guys that can, match his power and catch his chin because he's chinny, as we know. Sometimes he gets dropped randomly. Sometimes his chin look great. He's kind of a weird fighter, but like I'm pretty confident Hermansson is not going to finish him, and I'm also pretty confident that Hermansson is not going to be able to get any grappling going. So he's going to have to outstrike him, outvolume him. But like the power difference and the damage difference on the feet will be just so crazy. So yeah, I think Robocop has like all the finishing upside here. I think that the hardware edge is massive, and he's also a couple years younger. And Hermansson is on a layoff. So, yeah, to me, it's the Robocop spot. Whether he knocks him out or win a decision, I'm not too sure. But I think both options are really on the table. So, yeah, I think he should be like, what's the price now? He's around 70%. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah. I was trying to get myself to get to a Gregory bet earlier on. I like the earlier price, like that minus 180 price. Now, I really don't have any interest betting this fight. Maybe watch live. I think if Gregory doesn't finish Hermansson early and Hermansson starts picking it up, he's probably not a bad live line. I think Jack Hermansson probably wins round 3 at a pretty high clip. That's pretty much it, but it's pretty much a pass for me.
I'm surprised you didn't do Hermansson spread if you think he's going to win round 3.
Well, my worry is that he could get finished. That's usually one of my things on that is he could definitely get finished by Rodriguez. So that's probably why I stayed off that.
Yeah.
This is Dog talking about being 240. That's when he showers with like all his clothes on and gets out and steps on the scale maybe. But let's see. Robocop, KO round 1, round 2. Robocop. Drav looks like Kai Car France. What do you guys think about Rodriguez by decision? It's probably...
To me, it's really like flip a coin between decision and KO, honestly. I'm not sure. Like, I kind of lean KO, but it could be both. And also, like, he went for the kill against Cannonier and slowed down. So maybe after that, he's going to come out there and, trying to be more patient. That's kind of a concern. And maybe, bullish if you like the decision. But, hey, what's up? What's up, boys?
Yeah. So, and then this is actually KO or decision, minus 185. I mean...
Just
Yeah.
play the money line. Just play the money line at that
for
point.
the extra. Yeah, because Rodriguez is a very decorated grappler too, and we've seen Hermansson get cast slicer before. So
the Phantom Rodriguez sub finally comes through.
yeah, for the first time when everyone's on the KO.
Yeah,
that would be funny. Round 1 sub, club and sub low key, definitely in there. Robocop definitely does red line, which is kind of worrisome for the round 1 for Hermansson. All right. We're moving on to our main card. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to have all these guys' links down below as well. Join the Discord. It's free. Just subscribe to the channel. That's all we ask. Next fight, Peyton Talbott versus Felipe Lima. 2 of the better prospects in the UFC fighting each other. How that makes sense, I don't really know. But we got Peyton Talbott fighting during Pride Month. So that's the interesting stat there. 9-1 versus 14-1. Odds in these 2 gentlemen, Talbott plus 145 to plus 155. Lima minus 170 to minus 175. Key, I'm going to have you go first. I mean, Talbot's got to win during Pride Month, right?
Yeah. As a Frank Ocean fan myself, I'm
Really?
hoping for. Yeah,
You're a Frank Ocean guy, huh?
If you know ball and music and you have a good ear, Frank Ocean is good tunes. But
Damn,
I
we know what
think
you're getting down to. Interesting stuff.
all right, yeah, here we go. But I think realistically here, I think that Lima, I think this line is probably a little outside and a little wide. I think that this is a little bit of overcorrection, but at the same time, Lima is fucking legit. I mean, he's fought a high level competition on regionals. He comes into UFC and 2 solid wins. I won't say that he just looked like amazing in both, but I mean, really, really good traits. Fills out for the division really well. And I was expecting the size difference because Peg, if you scroll down, I believe they have Lima listed at 5'6" and Payton at 5'10". And facing off, the size difference did not look crazy to me. And that's one thing that if I was a Talbot backer, I would already be looking into and wanting. And so the Lima matches up somewhat physically well, and Payton has sort of thrived in just melting guys. And I think that Lima has a solid clinch game to sort of not give himself breaks, but find that and fill space within the fight. And 2, obviously all the grappling upside. And I do expect Payton to be improved in that fight. And I believe that was just an amazing Barcelos performance. But I do expect Lima to have some sort of grappling success in 1 round at least. And then on the feet, Payton is who he is. I mean, and while it's fun to watch and he hits like a truck, his head doesn't move. And yes, he's gotten away with it because his chin has been granite of this whole time. But his head doesn't move. Lima will be able to touch him, and there is a speed advantage early on Lima's side. I mean, he is insanely fast. And I do think that his kicks will be able to fill space and volume really well here. And Payton's a guy that gets going slow. So I think that Payton live is honestly a better angle than pre, because I do think that Lima wins round 1 at a pretty high clip. But after that, I do think that Talbot could wear on him. We've seen Lima, and I know it was on short notice versus 9 slow down a little bit until he found that sub. But I think that this is a weird fight that probably is a little wide. But pick-wise, I still go with Lima. But I hate to see this matchup this early for both guys.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking with this matchups. I mean, Talbot loses. Now he's on a 2-fight skid. His stock goes way down. Lima, I mean, he loses. His stock takes a little bit of a hit, but I think he's going to get it right back. Looking at this, right, Lima's coming from the Octagon promotion. He's got a lot more, I guess, a better strength of schedule. But spread of the week this week is Peyton Talbot plus 3.5, minus 150. Probably bet it the highest we've ever done for spread of the week. Just because, we watched Talbot get out grappled and out wrestled. And I think round 3 in that Barcelos fight was probably his best round. He doesn't give up on himself. Like he said, he's got a granite chin. He hits hard. He throws decent volume. Everyone's counting on Lima to get takedowns and try and maybe find a submission. But I don't even see that at all. If Barcelos isn't submitting you, I don't think Lima is. Also, if you watch some of the grappling exchanges of that fight, Lima doesn't have like the trips that he was trying to do, things like that. Well, we're not going to see that type of stuff here. And Talbott also was talking about, grinding wrestling since that loss. He kind of obviously got exposed there. And say that Barcelos fight doesn't happen, what do we make Talbott? Minus 200, right? So I don't know. Just seems fair, minus 150 for him to win a round. This looks like a 29-28 fight or a split decision all over it. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Pepe, what are you thinking for this one?
I think you're being a pussy for not playing the money line and laying juice on the spread. Because
I agree with that.
I don't really like the spreads where you have to lay juice. Like, I like the spreads where you're betting like a big underdog and you're still getting plus money. Week. Yeah. And there's a lot of examples. Like, I forgot who I was talking to. Like last year I was talking to Dogfather about this, where there's actually a way you can like soft hedge a big favorite. If the underdog, you can get plus money on the 3.5. Like William Gomes against Brito, his plus 3.5 was plus money. So you can actually middle, because if he loses a 29-28 but still wins, you win both sides. So that's like the one way to middle in MMA. But I just don't like the laying the juice on the spreads. But I do think that Talbott is live. I think this fight is when this fight gets extended, if it does, and it probably does, I think early finish is pretty reliant on a Lima submission. I think that Talbott is going to come. I think Talbott is going to look improved in this fight. He seems like an intelligent guy. I think he can maybe get lower in his stance, try to, focus more on his wrestling and, land the harder strikes. I do think, if there was zesty athleticism Olympics, Talbott would take a gold medal. Like, the guy is just like, he's all hardware. He'll be doing like flips to like defend takedowns and like all sorts of crazy shit, learning to wrestle in the ocean, surfing and, on the pole dance with doing the thing his mom teaches. Like, he's got crazy flexibility, so he can like do weird shit to get out of takedowns and grappling positions. I don't think that Lima is going to have nearly the same kind of success that old man Barcelos got in the last fight. So I do think it's going to be a close fight. I honestly think it's going to go to a split decision. I think Talbott is going to win by split.
They said DraftKings split decision, majority decisions plus 350.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's hard to put a price on it, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. And I will say this too, usually with my spreads, I always either put half a unit or a unit on the money line as well, just because, like you said, part of my algorithm with those spreads that I pick is that they have a chance of winning outright. So I usually do that. I just didn't do it with Cole last week, unfortunately. I wish I did. But here, Talbott probably will get half a unit or a full unit on that, because I already have 3 on the spread. What do you think, Drav?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of points that Pepe made on that fight. Honestly, the way I look at it is like Talbott, he brings something that Lima previous opponent didn't, in the fact that he will put on crazy volume and pressure and he won't slow down. And Naimov and Johns are both known as gasser and being low volume, so that's the first thing. And then in round 3, the way Talbott pressure guys, and I just don't think it's gonna fit Lima's style. Lima is a really good striker, don't get me wrong. I'm really high on the guy. I think he's super skilled, but he's not that good like in the pocket. Like, he's kind of flashy striker with the kicks. He's more technical. He is better defensively than Talbott, but like in the boxing, in the close range, I think he has more power in his hands. He throw more volume and he's gonna pressure nonstop. And we all know that it's harder to get takedowns when you're on the back foot, and I think he's going to put Lima on the back foot for the entire fight. And Lima, despite being a really good striker and more technical, he doesn't land a lot. And the fact that Talbott will be there and throwing a shit ton and the fact that I think the fight will go the distance kind of make me think he's going to win it. And we know Talbot defense is not really good. He get hit a lot. But again, I don't think Lima is the guy to knock him out or just expose that part. But he doesn't throw a lot with his hands. It's like flying knee, kicks, all of that, which is really good again. But like the way I heard people talk about this fight this week is like Lima's going to grapple, fuck him. He's going to submit him easily. And I cash on Lima sub 3 against Naimov. Don't get me wrong. That was an insane cash. But I mean, Naimov, if we're being honest, kind of quit in that fight. He was gassed. And if we know one thing about Talbot is he's never going to quit on himself, even if he's in a tough fight. He has that dog in him. And Barcelos is a better wrestler and better grappler than Lima. You know, he's a national, you know, wrestling champ. He is high level black belt. Lima has a really good back take, and we've seen Talbot getting his back taking, and you know that could be there for the rear naked choke. But outside of that, do I really project him to, you know, wrestle fuck him, get multiple takedowns? That's just not his style. He's more of a striker. He's gonna mix it in, but outside of the body lock, he doesn't have the best control. And Talbot normally has good get ups. So I don't know, man. The way I look at it, I think this fight's gonna be a war. And in war, Talbot built into those fights, the way he throw volume and all of that. And he's also, you know, the bigger, taller, longer striker here. So yeah, I just project him to be on the front foot the entire time. And like I said, Lima is opportunistic sub, but it's not like he's a submission specialist like Barcelos. And Barcelos was not able to submit him with like dominant position. So, and some of these takedowns and grappling transition that Barcelos had against Talbot were insane. Like some of these takedowns and reverse were like crazy. I don't think Lima's going to do that. And I don't think he's going to finish Talbot. So now if we go the distance, and I don't think he's going to wrestle fuck him, I'm certain that Talbot's going to land more. I think he's going to throw harder. And I think he's going to be on the front foot. So yeah, I think he's also live to break Lima late. He's a really tough guy to deal with in round 2 and 3. And Lima has good cardio, but again, he has not faced a pace fighter like Talbot and a guy that throws as much volume. So I think the matchup could be problematic for him. And also market-wise, Talbot was like a minus 1,000 in some of his UFC fights, and now he's being priced an underdog. And Lima, again, the Naimov fight, I've cashed on him, but he was an underdog there. So it's like, I think the market and the people are just really low on Talbot right now. And they think he sucks, which I don't think it's the case. And he's still only 26 years old. And they're also really high on Lima. There's a lot of hype on him right now, which again, I understand. I think he's really solid. But to me, it just seems like a pick'em fight. It's just like flip a coin on who's going to win. It's going to go the distance. So yeah, give me the guy that's going to just do more. And that's been underrated right now by the market. So yeah, I play some Talbot. I got him at plus 175 though. Now it's plus 150, I think still. Yeah, there's some plus 150. I think it's still decent. I think the decision prop also could be sneaky. But yeah, I think he's live to finish late. So I just think there's a ton of upside at the price, honestly. And I'm pretty confident in that. But, you know, it seems like an unpopular play this week. A lot of guys on the Lima side, and, you know, not like it's a really high level fight at the end of the day. So excited to see how it's going to play out on the pay-per-view to open the card.
Yeah. Key, you went first, right? Okay.
Yeah.
See, this guy wants me to get dialed. Now he makes fun of my algorithm. You can't win with Dogfather. You got to know that. Yeah, Talbot, smash.
I feel like it's just easier to imagine how Talbot loses the fight since he's coming off of a loss. Like if Lima had just fought a striker who was able to outstrike him, we would be like, oh, that's how Lima is going to lose his fight. But since he fought, you know, I don't even think Miles Johns is that good, to be honest with you. So, you know, he hasn't faced a great striker. So I guess it's harder to have the imagination to predict how that's going to play out. So that's why I think people are so bullish on Lima.
Yeah, that's fair. Lima, 3 takedowns, plus 120. I don't like it. I think this fight's going to take place on the feet for the most part, honestly.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a takedown or two, maybe. But again,
so no, I think Talbot is going to pop back up, and then he's going to take him down again. So I think that's fine for plus money.
Yeah, his get up game is really good, so he doesn't really care about giving up his back in the process. That's my concern. Lima jumping the back, but outside of that, I think he's gonna be fine working his way back up.
Okay. Next fight we have is Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. This fight was obviously supposed to be earlier this year, but something happened with Armin's back, so Renato fought Islam. It got slaughtered. Beneil Dariush 22-6-1. Moicano 26-1. Odds on these two gentlemen. It's now a pick 'em across the board. -110, -110. Pepe, I'll have you go first here. I mean, Beneil's got to be the side plus odds, right? He was plus 150 the first time it was matched. Now he was plus 130 on opening odds. How do you think this goes?
Yeah, he's not plus money anymore. It's like a pick 'em.
No, it's pick 'em now. It's pick 'em now.
Yeah. Whoever got in at the plus money is definitely sharp, doing their job. I don't really have any interest in this fight, to be honest with you. There's too many outside factors that make it difficult for me to kind of predict how it's going to go, because it's hard to really cap something like durability when you have to compare Dariush getting finished by Sarukian and Oliveira. And it's like, on one hand, Sarukian kind of landed like a perfect knee. And on the other hand, like, it's like, oh, Charles Oliveira finished him, but like he barely like hit him with anything. And then on top of that, he's been TKO'd multiple times, and like he's fumbled the bag multiple times. He clearly has a durability issue. And these days, I'm not trying to put my money on people with durability issues. So I'm not interested in Dariush, but I understand and I can see his path to victory using the grappling, and because Moicano can get stuck on his back, and Dariush is a pretty decent grappler, for what it's worth. His greatest skill set is probably his ability to scramble and his ability to get takedowns. And I think I don't know. I'm not the biggest Moicano fan, to be honest with you. Like, I think his time is coming. I'm rooting for Dariush, to be honest with you, because I feel like Moicano's little shtick has gone a little too far, to be honest with you. Got absolutely gifted a title shot, and didn't even get put out had he tapped. Yeah. Disgracefully, like Patty Pimblett said. So I'm not interested in betting this fight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so I got on that Benny line plus 150 the first time, plus 125 this time. I mean, looking at Renato's fights, right? Benoit Saint Denis, he crushed him in the round 1. Round 2, BSD won and was probably going to win that fight if the doctor didn't do that soft stoppage. Jalen Turner basically knocked out Renato Moicano, was expecting a walkout, had like PTSD of the Bobby Green fight. Renato comes back and wins. Drew Dober was beating him, and then low IQ loses the fight. So I just don't think Renato is as good as his win streak is telling us he is. And I think Beneil Dariush, yeah, he's been getting starched lately, but it's against guys like Armin, Charles Oliveira. Like, I think Beneil Dariush is going to be able to get some top time if they start wrestling. I think that Beneil Dariush is the one who has more power and can find a finish here. I think it's just like, Renato's best trait was his grappling, and you're not going to grapple Dariush. Striking is going to be interesting. Could get close at times, but I don't know. I feel like the guy with more power at plus odds is probably the way to go. Drav, what do you think? And answer this question while you're at it.
Yeah, I really like that. I think a contrarian take this week is the over and the GTD. On this one, like, I understand why people could be like hesitant about it, but to me, the way I see this fight playing out, and is like, it's hard for me to picture a finish. I know they both have chin issues, but I don't think Moicano's going to submit him. I don't think Benny's going to submit him either. And then if they play out on the field, I think Moicano is going to land more volume. I think Benny's going to land the bigger shot, and it's going to be close. But they're both coming off losses, and I don't think Moicano has the power to knock out Benny. He could, but like, I think it's unlikely. So then the under big minus money kind of rely on a Benny knockout, which I don't think it's all that likely. And even if he hurt Moicano, then Moicano is not going to go out cold by Benny. I don't think so. And Moicano is really tough to finish. In some fights, he's shown a lot of heart. So Benny's probably going to go to the ground with him. And then when that's the case, I don't think he finished him. So I just think there's just a way more way this fight go the distance, a way or another, than it finishes, personally. And, I think the over should be favored. I think the over should be like 60%. I know they're both older, but sometimes when that happened, it just turned out that the fight go the distance more often than not. And gun to my head, I think Benny win the decision, but I'm not confident in that. Last time I played like plus 160, plus 170, so I was willing to play that line because I was confident it will be really close. But there's unknowns on the Benny side, the layoff, where's the motivation at, and all of that. And now Moicano, coming back after losing to Islam, like he had maybe in his head thinking that he could be a champion, and now that's all gone probably. So yeah, he's not on a win streak anymore, but also he lost to Islam Makhachev, who's like one of the best fighters in the world. I think probably top 3 because the top one's fighting in the main event, in my opinion. So we're gonna talk about that. But yeah, I just think Benny's gonna do more damage, but I think Moicano could also outpoint him. So the fact that it's a pick'em now, I think it's accurate, but it also annoyed me because I had Benny plus 160, plus 170. But yeah, I think the over is really sharp there. I like that quite a bit.
Key, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I dropped Dariush as my free bet of the week. I got plus 142. I'm happy with that number. I have plus 195 in the UFC 311 booking, so it stings a little bit to eat plus 142 this time, but I still think that this is pick'em or maybe Dariush slight fave, without durability concerns. Here, I think the body kick of Benny is going to play a big part here. The kick game overall is just more diverse and more educated. I think that Dariush, while he does get into scraps and has been hurt before, you can't question the amount of dog he has in him. So I'm not worried about Benny's always a guy who said weird shit in interviews. In February, he was talking about that he would have beat Islam on short notice at 311. Now, later on, he starts talking about this could be the last one, whatever it is. I don't question him. Once the doors are locked, he's going to fight for my money. So I don't have worries over that. Moicano, on the other hand, used that money to buy himself a new gym. He's owning that gym and running classes at it. So I'm sure there's just a shit ton going on with that, plus the pod, all that good stuff. So I think that there's concerns on both guys in terms of outside the cage stuff, durability, what they have going on in their personal lives, blah, blah, blah. Stylistically, I think this is an awful matchup for Moicano. Dariush matches the grappling, as Pepe mentioned. I mean, scrambling is probably one of the highlights of Dariush's games. The Gamrot performance is just still beautiful to watch. And Moicano's a guy that will be fine being on his back. I can see Dariush getting takedowns here. As Dravhy mentioned, I can see him having the bigger moments on the feet here. So plus 142 is an easy click for me. It's not something I feel like insane about because, again, there's a guy who has dealt with concussion issues and all this sorts of stuff. So I'm not. It's not like I'm just screaming from the rooftop, but I think plus 142 is a great number. I think it, for the most part, plus 110 and up is a really solid bet. Moicano on the feet is meat and potatoes. I do think that he could hurt Dariush, but putting together 15 minutes of a clean performance, I just don't see here. So I give a lot of finishing upside to Dariush too. Moicano, somebody that's been hurt. I think this is truly a coin flip type of fight. So Dariush is the pick. I hope that my guy gets it done for me.
All right, I think that's everyone for this one, right? Moving on. This is Twitter's fight of the week. I think this is probably one of the best fights on the card. We have Brandon Royval versus Josh Van. Obviously, Josh Van making a quick turnaround, about 3 weeks or 2 weeks. Royval's been on ice because he had to pull out because of concussion protocol against Cop, and then he's been sitting out until now. Royval, anywhere from plus 100 to plus 105. Josh Van, anywhere. He's about minus 120. Drav, I'm going to have you go first here. I mean, this is going to be a banger. Who could throw? I mean, if you could take an over on like 500 SIG punches thrown combined, I think that's the way to bet it. It's going to be a high volume fight. What do you think?
Yeah, Van's been my guy, since his early day in the UFC. I always said this guy will be something, and now at 23 years old, he have the chance to, be the number one guy and fight for the title next, which is really, really amazing to see. I think his boxing is elite, honestly. I think the kid is the real deal. He's only 23 and he has a lot of good tools you want in a fighter. He has elite cardio, pace, volume, elite boxing, very good body work, and he's also really accurate, which is something that Royval is not. He throw a lot of volume, but he's not close to being as accurate as Van is. And I also noticed that Van has shown an elite jab in his last fight, and he's showing improvements fight by fight. For example, he's winning round one more now than he was before. He's not starting slow as much, and his takedown defense is also really good. And the way I see this fight playing out, Royval is a madman. He will bring chaos, and he throw a shit ton of volume, like I said, but I don't think his wrestling is really good. I think Van takedown defense is solid. So for the fight to be in the grappling, I think that Royval is probably gonna have to hurt Van somehow and like club and sub him with like a guillotine or something like that. But outside of that, I don't think that it's gonna play out on the ground. I think it's gonna be on the feet. And I think Van is just more technical and the better striker. But Royval has some sneaky shots that he could hit him with, like the knees up the middle, that when Van pressure and he's smaller, so that could be there. And the spinning back fist, spinning elbow, that could be there. But with his hands, he doesn't carry much power, honestly. And I don't think Van is chinny, as people could say, like he get hurt in some of these fights. Royval also get hurt. They're both pretty durable to me. So I just think Van is more likely to hurt him because he's so much more precise. And the jab will be money, and the body shot will also be money, because the way Royval just used his jab to, just throw out volume out there, and the way Van used his own jab, and the way he used his body shot to close the distance, and to the way he pressure, I just think the way Royval strike, there's gonna be so much opening for Van, honestly, to capitalize on. And I think the body work will be right there for Royval. And Royval is also not used to fight someone that can match his pace, volume, and striking output. Van can, but again, he's just going to be way more precise. So I think Van needs to be careful about the knees and the elbows and the spinning shit. But if he does, I think he's going to cook him, honestly. I think he could knock him out. Obviously, Van round 2-3 KO is always live when he fight. But I think more likely it's probably going to be a decision where you give me Van, the guy who has a lot of momentum going into this fight, and Royval on the other hand, he pulled out of the Royval of the Manuel Cape fight a couple months ago, because he had issues, he had concussions. I'm gonna let you talk about that part more. He had it more in deep, but like a lot of scary stuff on the Royval side. The reasons that why he pulled out, I think he being knocked out in the gym or something like that. So there's a lot of red flag, right? And then Van is just locked in, ready, motivated, big opportunity. Royval already fought for the belt, already lost against Pantoja twice. So yeah, to me, I just think Van, maybe it's too soon for him. Maybe it's too much too soon, but I think he will be champ one day. And that's the next step for him. That's a big fight. And, I'm predicting him to win decision, because of how durable Royval is. But honestly, if there's someone that can capitalize on Royval lack of defense and the way he strike, it's Van. I think Van could hurt him and he could honestly finish him. So yeah, he just needs to be careful, avoid the grappling, like be careful when you close the distance, because the knees, Royval, I'm sure he's gonna try to use that. But yeah, I think Van has more upside over the fight, doing more damage, matching Royval volume, but landing more and also harder. So yeah, to me it's Van, and Van versus the champion of the flyweight division that we're gonna talk soon. So yeah, what you guys think about it?
Hey, what do you guys talk about concussions?
Yeah, on the concussion end, Royval pulled out of the cop fight originally in March. I believe that was the March 1st card. Due to repeated concussions, he was facing some bad symptoms weeks after, talking about not being able to form sentences, hard time with light, blah, blah, blah. But the reason why that was very, very concerning is, one, repeated concussions, but there's a guy who has thrived off of durability and recoverability his whole career. I mean, without it, his style just simply is not sustainable at all. And I wouldn't even necessarily cap that super into the fight, but he is about to be 33 in the flyweight division. And flyweights, as we know, they age very, very quickly. And I know Pantoja just goes against every bit of logic in MMA altogether. But he is a true outlier. And Royval is not a guy who I think has a sustainable style without his chin and recoverability. And then what I think that this really comes down to, pick wise, I'm going with Josh Vance, so let's get that out of the way. But I think that overall, I think that Royval, everybody's talking about, oh, well, Royval's going to be able to match the volume of Van. And while that's somewhat true, and Royval will throw a lot, I think that what makes this completely different than the Charles Johnson fight, where Van did face some issues getting his jab established, is the fact that Royval's constantly fighting off of 1 foot. I mean, he's always off balance. I mean, he's constantly throwing random kicks. And while there seems to be more process in his game compared to his earlier days, because I'm old enough to remember when everybody was saying that flyweight under 1.5s are a thing whenever Royval's fighting. And that's changed in recent years with him getting more 5-round experience and stuff. But there's a guy who is, throughout his whole career, is a risk taker. And I believe a guy is patient and as calculated as Van and who pressures as well as Van, I think that you're going to pay for that. And if there's one knock that's been on Royval throughout his whole career, it's been his boxing defense. I mean, he got dropped versus Casey Kenny on regionals. He's been dropped here in the UFC before. And even versus the Brandon Moreno fight, I found the issue with the fact that he was getting hit with the same overhands over and over again throughout the fight. And although I thought they won that fight cleanly, it ends up being a nasty, weird sort of result whenever he lets Moreno have moments like that. I think that Van's going to be able to get the jab going in this fight. I think that what really stood out to me is that Royval cannot hurt a soul with his hands. Like, there's nobody on earth that he's truly hurting with their hands,
Not
unless it's
even
just
Drav?
insane pace. Huh?
Not even Drav?
No, Drav's eating that and walking through it. Um, but I think that Royval, I mean, he's made a career out of unorthodox strikes, pretty much leading him to a high rolling a little bit of this career, honestly. And the knees up the middle, the elbows. And I do think that the knees up the middle can be very problematic for Josh Van here. And that is a thing that is a little bit away from me for why I didn't just absolutely nuke this spot, because I am worried about that. But I think technique for technique, outside of a random strike and some bullshit happening, which is very possible, I think that Van is the better fighter with more of a process. Yeah, Van's the better fighter with more of a process. He's not 33. He's not coming off of multiple concussions. He's getting better and has cleaned up a lot defensively since that Charles Johnson fight. And I think that this will be another good test for him to get a bigger opponent, to see if a lot of those changes have translate over to this size. But even at their face off and stuff, it wasn't like Van is just a midget compared to Royval. I know Royval's listed at 5'9", but it seems to be more of a 5'7", 5'8" guy. So I think that here Van is going to look good. I think that he's going to have the moments where Val's going to get his head snapped back constantly. And I think that pawing jab, while it has done a lot to other opponents who may not be as savvy on the feet, I think that Van's going to be able to get a read on that. I think that he'll be able to counter. And I really see him having success in round 2, round 3. I don't think that he finds the KO, but I do think that he knocks him down in this fight. Royval's a crazy scrambler on the mat, so I wouldn't expect Van to follow him down and ground and pound his way to a KO. But I do think that he can knock down Royval. He's constantly off balance, constantly just throwing random kicks. I can very much see that happening. So for me here, I think that this is much different than the Charles Johnson fight. Charles had head movement, much better boxing fundamentals, in my opinion, and that Muay Thai background sort of stood out. Royval here, off balance, I think that Van is going to be able to clip him with something. So Van, money line, makes a lot of sense to me here. But yeah.
Yeah, and also people are shitting on him because he got knocked out against Johnson. And I bet Johnson there, but if we're being honest, like, if they rerun that fight, I think Van cook him bad.
And is Royval going to hurt anybody with a punch?
No.
Van has some defensive flaws, but is Royval the puncher that's going to make him pay for it? I don't think so.
I'm more worried about Royval getting an opportunistic submission or hitting him with a knee up the middle and then jumping on a guillotine.
Yeah,
that's my biggest worry. Not because I've always been kind of a component of Royval is just full of janky volume, but what he is really good at is scrambling, except if he's against Pantoja, who can just hold him down. And even Bontarine was holding him down, but he will grab submissions opportunistically, but at the same time, I get he got Kai Kara France, but the other one was Matt Schnell. Is that really impressive? And Schnell dropped his bitch ass before he got that.
Yeah.
And then I mean he hit Nicolau, but Nicolau is incredibly fragile and I don't know. I feel like I've kind of been underrating Royval a bit. I thought I kind of feel like that Moreno performance was kind of a hoe performance, to be honest. I think Moreno has all the skills and tools to be able to beat Royval easily, and he was just fighting like a fucking idiot, just continuously back. Why are you letting fucking Brandon Royval push you back? What the fuck are you doing? Sit down, take his ass down, or just strike with him. He's just whipping overhands like he's fucking ate a couple Xanax bars before the fight. That did not look like. I thought Moreno looked out of character in that fight, but then again, I'm kind of discrediting Royval getting a really good win. And then the Tyra fight is just a completely different stylistic matchup than Josh Van, completely 100%. And overall, I'm riding the van. I'm riding the van this week. I think he can get it done. I will say my concerns are, like I said, the opportunistic submissions potentially walking into a knee, and the weight cut, the short notice nature of this. If he had a complete full camp, I would like it better. But I don't know. He's definitely got some momentum. He's got some confidence. And yeah, I definitely picked up that, because at first I was Charles Johnson was a bad matchup for him. But then when you think about it a little more, it's Charles Johnson has much better head striking defense than Brandon Royval. So, and even at the end of round one, Van finally got his range a bit and was able to clip Charles and knocked him down a bit. So yeah, I'm riding the Van.
Yeah, I'm on Van too. I took money line and round 2, round 3 KO. It's orthodox versus southpaw. You got a guy in Van where he's gonna be able to work the body. He's the better boxer overall. Throws the same amount of volume as Royval. Now it's a boxing fight. Royval's look good because he puts pace on everyone with a lot of high volume. He's got a guy that can match it in front of him. It's also only 3 rounds. I don't know. Feels like Van's the guy right now, and it'd be pretty impressive. I do think if he beats Royval, I don't really think I know Dana's going to throw him into a title fight. I don't think we need to rush this kid. He's 23. I think it's going to be too much too soon if he gets Pantoja, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
And they were definitely, dude, whatever, you can never make a bet based on what you think the UFC wants, because it doesn't matter sometimes what they want. No. But the UFC definitely does not want fucking Royval fighting Pantoja again in a title. Why the fuck would who wants to watch that? No. Yeah. Fuck that. He got 50-45. You should never be able to get a rematch if you got 50-45. Get the fuck out of here. They were obviously setting Manel Kopp to fucking box this guy's head into the third row of the T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah, and also a thing about the Manel Kopp fight is he was minus 250 against Royval, right? After coming up after that big performance against Bruno Silva. Van has the same performance against Bruno Silva, maybe even better, because he knocked him down multiple times. And he was an underdog against Royval when Cap was, minus 250. I just thought it was interesting.
Well, Cap's much better than Van.
Easy
Like
though.
he's got like a mountain of experience, like way better.
Yeah, he's more experienced, and he's more of a sniper. But like, I don't know. I feel like they both match up against Royval kind of similar in a way.
He also has better durability too. Like you do not have to worry about.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's a huge factor.
Yeah. All right. Next fight, we got our co-main event of the evening. It is Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Car-France. These guys fought in the Ultimate Fighter 9 years ago. Everyone loves talking about that. Both guys are light years better now. Kai 25-11, Pantoja 29-5. Odds on these two gentlemen, you can get Pantoja anywhere from minus 220 to minus 230. You can get Kai Car-France plus 185 to plus 195. Pepe, I'm going to have you go first here. I mean, I'm on the Pantoja side here. I feel like a lot of sharp people are on Kai Car-France. I don't hate it at plus 200, but obviously that line's gone now. What do you think?
I don't really like Kai Car-France as a fighter. Like there's something about him that's just like cringe and like lame. And like I don't know. I kind of so the thing is like at first I was thinking that I was gonna play Kai Car-France, and I do think he's live. Like, okay, what do you need to beat Pantoja? Good takedown defense, power on the feet, good cardio. Kai Car-France checks those boxes, but the boxes that he doesn't check are durability and, an ability to, like, I've never seen Kai Car-France fight through a war. And, like, I don't really know if he has, like, that championship mentality, honestly. Like, the way he went down to Moreno, like, he's been finished 6 times. Pantoja has been fighting for so long, has never been finished 1 time. Like, that is fucking huge. And, like, I get he's 35, and at some point, like, the chin is gonna, let him down. And I've, kind of been behind that narrative, and I even think so. But then at the same time, it's flyweight. Like, we're not talking about 170. We're talking about flyweights. And, like, I get Kai Car-France has some power, but is he really gonna fucking chin Pantoja? Like, Pantoja is such a dog. Like, I had to throw on Many Men by 50 Cent today, and I was just like thinking about that war with Moreno. I'm like, dude, I can't bet against fucking Pantoja. Like, he's such a dog, dude. And like,
yeah.
Do you think the Kai Car-France money is fucking square or what?
No, not really. Just because I've talked to a bunch of people about it, but
yeah.
But that being said, I don't know. I think watching tape, right? A lot of people talk about the back takes. Askarov, Bontarin, like these guys got Kai's back. It's possible, and Kai does a good job at like stopping initial takedowns. But Pantoja is the type of guy that pushes you to a fence and then just jumps on your back.
Right?
There's no takedown to stop.
It doesn't matter if you have good takedown defense. If he can get you to the fence, he'll just like hop off the fence and pull you. He'll just pull your ass down,
pull you to the ground,
pull guard, and like, dude, he's just so slick. But at the same time, it's like you can see that like all the wars are kind of like wearing on him. His time is coming, and like his cardio is not that great either. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if Kai Car-France is able to do it. But at the same time, he doesn't even deserve this title shot. Like, he is so fortunate to be in this spot because of all the fuckery that's gone on in this division. So I don't know, man. It's really difficult to bet this fight personally.
Yeah, I just stuck with Pantoja more often than not, just because it's like you said, it's hard to bet against a guy in Pantoja where he's such a dog. He's got so many ways to win. He's pretty well rounded. The clinch to the back take, it doesn't even have to be like we said, jumping on his back, whatever it is. Sometimes he just gets to the clinch and then just grind against the cage till he gets your back. So, and then Pantoja or Kai, they always talk about like, oh, he's had so many guys on his back that are good grapplers, but none of them have been like jiu-jitsu caliber of Pantoja, where he gets a rear naked choke in. His squeeze, like if you listen to the Santino and Olivas pod, what Olivas used to grapple with Pantoja, he's like, he's never felt the guy squeeze that strong. So you see a guy like that in your back going for a rear naked choke, could be a totally different story. On the feet, Pantoja has a great check left hook. And like you said, Kai's durability isn't always there. And Pantoja has gotten better over time on the feet. Not that I'm saying he's better than Kai, but his striking's there now. So I don't know. It just feels
the body kicks, like Kai's been super vulnerable to body kicks his entire career. And Pantoja fights intelligent, to be honest. And like he's got good body kicks. Like the Manel Cop fight, he basically like only threw body kicks and won a decision with just body kicks. And Kai Kara-France has to fight so careful, like, oh, I can't get too close, I can't get too close or he's gonna grab me. It just makes his margins even thinner than they already are.
That too, and then if you look at it, like you said, Pantoja's got that ATT water, right? So he does his cardio, even though he looks tired at times, he still pushes. He pushes through fatigue very well. Probably one of the best people to push through fatigue, right? So we've seen it time and time again. Urseg, he was basically dead in that 5th round, and he was still fighting.
Dude,
so
he's a champion. He's a champion. Yeah. Like that's what champions do.
And he fights. That's the thing is he doesn't fight like a champion in the sense of, oh, I have the belt, I'm defending the belt. Every time he gets in there, he fights like he's trying to fight for the belt, and he's proving himself time and time again. So I love seeing that from him. I think this is a Pantoja spot. I just think outside of like a KO, like how does Kai look favorite here? Like I just don't see it. So that's my take on Pantoja. What do you think, Drav?
Yeah. Again, I think every sharp people that I talk to are on the Kai side, which, I understand. I mean, there's reasons to like that side, but I just disagree with it, honestly. And what you guys said, I pretty much agree with everything. So I don't want to repeat all that thing, but, Peg kind of stole a part of my breakdown with the back take because he named the fighter that took his back that are in my breakdown. So I'm sure he didn't remember that top of his head, but there's just way too many things on Kai when you watch the tapes. And yeah, you can list his takedown defense, you can list all of that, but a lot of guys that are not as good as Pantoja on the back are able to get to his back and threat rear naked choke. And as you guys mentioned, I mean, Pantoja to me has like the best back take in the UFC, and his rear naked choke is nasty. So like if you get to those positions that like Albazi was, or all these guys were, he's finishing it. Like there's just no doubt in my mind. And there's also no doubt in my mind that he will get to the back at some point. And I also project him to land maybe if the fight goes 25, I can easily see him land like 2 takedowns here. So like he could also get the back take without a takedown. So, and on the feet, Kai is better, more technical. The leg kicks could be money. But the way I look at it is it's going to be close on the feet. Like Pantoja has power, he's more durable. And, Kai, because of the takedown threat, seems to be low, like against Albazi. I think he got robbed, honestly, but like he was so much low volume on the feet, and he let Albazi compete with him when he's the much better striker. And that was because of the takedown threat when he almost got submitted. So he's going to have to worry about the takedowns. And Pantoja is not like a butt on the feet. He's pretty decent and he has power. So Kai is going to be low volume because of the takedown threat. And because of that, it's going to be close on the feet. And then one back take or one takedown, to me, could be the fight or just could be the round. So, yeah, you give me the guy that has insane durability. And I know people are saying, oh, he's 35. His durability is not going to be there at some point and all of that. And I mean, that's true. But at the end of the day, the guy has never been finished in MMA. And he has shown us like elite chin, elite durability. And he has that dog in him. Like, watching back that Moreno fight, like Pepe said, he's tired in round 5. He's not getting the takedown, but he's jumping on the back and he's getting the back in round 5 while tired. And you guys know how much Brandon Moreno is, or hard he is to control on the mat. He's like one of the best guys in scramble, in BJJ. And Pantoja was able to get to his back a couple times. So I think he's going to get to the back here. That's kind of the way I see it. And when he does, he could finish. And on the feet, it's going to be close. So yeah, there's just big grappling upside, a big grappling edge, and a durability edge. And like you guys said, Kai is kind of fortunate to be in this spot in a way. And Pantoja has proven to be a really good champion. And to me, honestly, is one of the most underrated champ in the UFC right now. People are sleeping on this guy, but at the end of the day, he has insane grappling, insane durability. That dog in him, he's a really good finisher. So, and he's always like minus 200 against these guys because people are talking about how much he get hit, how he can get knocked out, and he's getting older and blah, blah, blah. But to me, like, is he declining a little bit? Yeah, I think he might be a little bit, but he's still close to his prime, man. The guy is in really good shape this week also, like one of the best shape in his entire career. So, yeah, to me, it's Pantoja. I think the line is accurate and, minus 250 range. It just makes sense to me. But, yeah, I mean, on paper, when you look at the fight, there's reasons to like Kai, and even when you watch the tape, but when you think more about it, what does a Kai win look like? Is he going to knock him out? Like, that could happen, but that will be kind of shocking to me. And then if he goes all 25, he's going to have to avoid the takedown, avoid the back take, and kind of fight the perfect fight, not getting finished. And it's just, his margin for errors are just so slim. Like Pepe said, he's going to be close, and he's going to be like, oh, I need to be careful because if that guy grabbed me, the fight might be over. So yeah, to me, it's really a good spot for Pantoja. Honestly, I know it's chalky. I know everybody and their mom saying it's Kai season, but yeah, to me, it's Pantoja.
It kind of reminds me of that Ludovic Klein versus Gamrot fight where they're like, Klein has a 90% takedown defense.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, yeah, but who is he fighting against? And like, what kind of takedowns is he facing? Like, it's just, it's completely different. You got to throw some context in there.
Definitely. Key, what are you thinking? You've been awfully quiet. You on Kai?
No, I think Pantoja gets it done. I think this line is about fair. I just don't really like Kai's game that much. Like, there's just not enough in between shit for me to truly love it. It just feels very like meat and potatoes. Like, hey, I have power, big overhand. Hey, I'll throw kick, body jab, basic jab. Like, there's just not enough tools, in my opinion. And the way that he gives up his back getting up is just a no fucking with Pantoja. And Pantoja just, he defies all logic. I mean, he's going to get it to the mat any way possible. He's going to get control. I mean, the margin of error for Kai is just so fucking thin, in my opinion. Like, just very, very thin. And I don't see Kai one punching Pantoja. Like, I just don't see that happening. So outside of like some big, huge moment early, I think he has to have a huge moment early. Outside of some big moment early, I think that Pantoja looks good here. And I don't think that Josh Van is the guy to do it. And I would like to see the cop fight ran back, if I'm being honest. But I think that Pantoja gets this done and defends his belt again soon against the winner, Royval and Van, as Dana said. So Pantoja I'd say by decision, but I think that it probably looks pretty clean.
Yeah, decision and sub both are really live, but I just favor him by like all three methods, honestly. So
all right, guys, main event. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. Join the Discord. Come chat with us. All right, Ilia Topuria versus Charles do Bronx. I don't have to break down anything. Everyone knows who these guys are. Topuria minus 450. Charles Oliveira plus 350. Narrative of the week is Charles is a dead man. I mean, Drav, do you think Charles is a dead man here?
To me, it's sad to say, but I think Topuria is gonna finish him, and maybe in brutal fashion. Oliveira is one of my favorite fighter. I have a poster of him in my gym, my house. I like the guy a lot. Like, win or lose, always in fun fight. One of the best finisher in MMA history. And he's the bigger fighter here. The way I look at it, I think Topuria boxing is, first of all, I think Topuria is the best fighter in the UFC right now, and maybe the best fighter we've ever seen in a long time. is ceiling in MMA in 2 years, we might talk about him being like one of the greatest. His boxing is elite. The way he goes, like the body head combo, is so nasty, and he's really good. Like his power is insane. Don't get me wrong, but he has that combo of like good combos, good speed, good power, but he's really accurate to hit the target at like to put his opponent in the right spot and find the kill shot. He's really good at that. And the most impressive thing to me is he's not like a boxer like that guy is a really good grappler. His base was grappling, really good wrestling, good grappling. He's a strong dude, and he has a good squeeze also. So normally Oliveira, like he's chaos, he's in your face, trying to break you and all of that. But the problem with that is he get hurt a lot, and his striking defense in the boxing is just not good enough. And Topuria is gonna land on the target pretty easily, and he's not gonna have to track Charles like he did against Holloway and Volkanovski. By the way, knocking out Volkanovski and Holloway back to back is just so nasty.
Legendary.
Imagine the next run is like KO sub Oliveira, then KO Makachev. Like imagine these names like back to back to back to back. It's just so crazy. Yeah, so I'm not going against Topuria, man. I think this dude is so good. The question you need to ask yourself is how does he does it? Personally, I think the sub is live. I'm predicting a knockout. I think he's gonna drop him probably in round 1 or round 2, and then when he does, it could look like the Islam fight. He could jump on him. He's not gonna be scared on the ground because Oliveira doesn't really go out cold. He's normally getting dropped and play off his back, but he recovered that way. But I don't think Topuria is gonna let him time to recover. He's gonna jump on him, and then when he does, he could finish like that arm triangle or something like that. He did it against Bryce Mitchell, the last grappler he fought, and I just think that he's so confident in himself that he's not going to be scared, and he's going to trust his BJJ, and his BJJ is really good. And I think at this point might be underrated because of how good his boxing is. And, people are going to point out the fact that he got hurt against Jai Herbert and all of that. First of all, he jumped up a weight class. He decided to do it to stay active. He got cut by a head kick, but he's shown heart and still managed to, put the guy out cold, one of the most brutal knockout I've seen in a long time. So he got dropped, and Oliveira could also drop him, but yeah, Oliveira could finish anyone. So I don't think him finishing Topuria will be shocking, but it's just so hard for me to see Topuria lose right now. And on the other side, I mean, Oliveira has lost 10 times. He's getting older, already been the champ, been there, done that, made his money. I think Topuria is still probably more hungry at this point. It's all narrative, right? But I just think the guy is going to do it. KO sub, whatever he wants. I think it could be a sub. Inside 10 minutes, this fight's going to be over. It's probably going to be sad. It might be brutal. But yeah, I think Topuria is, like I said, I think he's the best fighter in the world right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it looks kind of like Camp said right here. I think it looks just like the Islam fight. I do think that Topuria knocks down Charles and then finds the sub. People forget that Topuria was a submission grappler before he was a boxer. Now his boxing has come along. The only issue I have with the club and sub that I think is Ilya touches people and they die. He doesn't even have to follow up, which could be the concern here because we've seen Charles Oliveira knocked down in every single one of his fights and hurt. And this time, like Ilya said himself, if he touches his jaw, it might explode. So if that's the case, that's what it'll be. There's some interesting props on FanDuel. You get Topuria KO 1, 2, 3. You get sub 1, 2, 3. All at, I think the KO 1, 2, 3 is at minus 115, and then sub 1, 2, 3 is plus odds, plus 300 or something like that. So I wouldn't mind playing those. I like the under as well. Under seems fair. I just think both these guys fight to the under, right? Charles is always trying to finish people. So is Topuria. So I don't know. Can't go wrong there. My biggest parlay is Topuria parlayed with Pantoja. Just 2 ways, 2 guys to win. And I think that's how it goes. Key, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that Topuria does it to him, sadly. I think round 1, round 2 KO. I understand the sub angle, but I think that Topuria's power is just different. I don't see Charles dropping to his back and willing to play off his back. And he might be willing to play off his back, but he's not dropping to his back conscious. I think that even if Topuria drops him, I think he pounds him out from there. Pause. But yeah, that was crazy. But I really think that here Topuria's hook in a pocket will put him out. I will say though, if Charles magically is able to make it past like 7.5 minutes and they start getting into clinch exchanges and Charles starts landing some knees, things get tricky. And I say that as a hopeful Charles fan personally, and as somebody that has money on Topuria here. So Topuria by KO early.
Pepe, our special guest, close it out here. You're muted.
Pepe.
I think playing the money line is silly on Topuria just because, you know, he is going up a weight class and we're not 100% sure. You know, and it's still MMA. There's still variance. There's volatility, and you know this is the high level. And Charles is very opportunistic, so I wouldn't say like this is like a fucking lock or anything. So like, I mean, I get you want to have some action. I wouldn't advise people playing the money line. Although I do predict him to win. I do think he's a bad stylistic matchup for Oliveira. I think Sarukian is probably a more difficult fight for Topuria because, you know, what we're going to have to see at this weight class is if his physicality is going to transfer up. Because if he's getting like, and Sarukian is, you know, he's a beast. Like he is all physicality. If, you know, there's potential that he can get hossed around, but like that's not Oliveira. Like Charles doesn't have that physicality. Charles doesn't have that durability. Charles doesn't have that cardio. Like these are the weaknesses that in Oliveira's game, and I don't think you can have those weaknesses if you're going against someone like Topuria. So I just think it's a bad stylistic matchup. That being said, Oliveira is always live to hurt him, to clip him, to get him in a crazy grappling sequence. But yeah, I think it's, you know, the trajectories it's just too much to overcome, honestly. So,
what do you think of that? What do you think of the Topuria decision plus 900?
I think that's live, man. Like I don't know, man. It's definitely live. It's a long shot for a reason, though.
Yeah.
I would rather play the GTDs like plus 500 at this point, because if they go to distance, it's probably going to be like a war. And, you know, I don't think he like 50-40 for him like he did Emmett if they go to distance.
I also think if it goes to distance, that means Charles is having grappling success and wrestling.
Yeah, but honestly, I think this fight and inside the distance like 90% of the time. Like the way they fight and the way the way they're going to match up against each other, like I will be like, I think this fight and
Topuria, I think in order to GTD, Topuria has to get hurt, compromised, or like cardio dump, which could happen. Like it happens all the time in like these kind of wars where Oliveira somehow lands something huge and like Topuria is, you know, a bit compromised, but like able to take him down and like ride out top position, and DeBronx stays safe from bottom.
Yeah. How would you guys line the fight if it was Topuria versus Arman?
Topuria like minus 275.
Yeah, something around that, 300-ish, something like that. Because Arman has been hurt before, you know.
That's nice. He's got a glass jaw, but Couch was arguing with me last night saying it would be a slight like minus 150, minus 125 for Topuria. And I was like, that's crazy. He's gonna touch his skin and he's gonna die.
There's no way. If he's like minus 125 against Arman, I would have a big wager on that, honestly.
I mean, I don't think you could go wrong necessarily betting Arman at plus 250 though against Topuria.
Yeah, it's more the knockout that would, like, obviously against anybody that it's scary against Topuria to like. But I mean, Arman been like hurt in some fights. His chin is kind of weird.
Yeah, Nato. If Nato BJJ is like damn near knocking you out,
the chicken gun.
But like that being said, like potentially Arman could just drag him into the swamp.
On top. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking he could, and if he gets on top and like lands crazy elbows and like fucks Topuria up, that's the other.
Possible.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, Topuria, like we saw Charles almost sub Armin twice. Topuria could do the same thing. So I don't know. It's just I think that fight's probably more interesting than this fight. Honestly,
It is. It is more interesting. I think.
I think that's what we get next. Even though Ilya says if he wins and Islam wins, he's going up to 170 because he's chasing Islam for some reason. I think Islam beats Topuria. Honestly,
I don't know. I don't know what the rush is. You know,
I don't get why he wants to fight Islam so bad. I think he loses that fight.
Does Islam get through JDM?
That's the question I had. Because we don't know what Islam's going to look like at 170.
That's not a good matchup for him.
No.
Yeah, honestly, I think GDM might win this fight.
Like if they give JDM dog odds like that again.
Yeah, he's like plus 200 on the future.
He's plus 200 again, Key.
I'm not betting future fights. I'm playing that out.
But you have to imagine it's going to be like around plus 175, plus 225 when like the real line open. It's going to be around that. Like,
we will be there.
The thing is with like regarding JDM and Islam, like the reason why he was such a slam against Bilal was because Bilal has no submission threat. At least with Islam, he's gonna be like that Darce that he hit Moicano with was fucking disgusting, dude. That was nasty. So like JDM's been stuck in a bunch of like close submissions. I wouldn't be surprised but then again, you're getting a huge dog odds on him.
If he submit him, he would win. Like he would cover a big price tag. But that's kind of the angle. But it's all price dependent. But if he's like plus 2xx, I'm probably willing to find out. But yeah, the sub attempts he's been cut in, and how nasty Islam is and how strong he is, it could be really tricky. And I think he will do well at 170. He's massive 155.
Yeah,
but it's so unknown. So it's I'm hyped for that one as well. But yeah, Topuria versus Armin, like
is Islam definitely fighting JDM?
It's not official, but pretty much. I mean, Islam's going up to 170, and he's the champ. And JDM said he wants to fight Islam.
That's such a dope fight.
It is.
It really is.
What do you guys think about what if it was Topuria versus JDM, like Champ just said? What do you guys think of that?
I mean, honestly,
no.
I mean, they both have like nasty body head combos and boxing. So like it would be so insane. But I think Topuria hit harder, even though it's kind of crazy because GDM is a welterweight, Topuria was a featherweight. But I think
that will look like a crazy weight difference.
I think we need to pump the brakes a little on Topuria going to 170. Yeah. Like, let him fight at 55 for.
I agree with that. Yeah,
15 pounds is big. Like,
it is.
Islam going from 55 to 70. That's a huge jump up. So, like, I don't know. Like, going from 45 to 70 is fucking crazy.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, guys, that's the show. That's UFC 317. That's all our bets and predictions. Let's throw together a quick parlay for while we got a second here. Could be props, could be money line, whatever you guys want to do. These guys love it. All right, Key, I'll let you go first. What are you thinking?
Oh, you said favorite bet?
No, we can do favorite bet. We could, however we usually do this bullshit, this parlay.
I guess shit. I'll just say Josh Van money line.
I'll do the Hyder Amil Delgado over 2.5.
Yeah, okay. I'll take the over on the Benil Moicano fight.
Okay, so over Benil. Over.
It's 633 already.
What did Key say?
Josh Van.
And then I'm gonna take.
Pantoja. Don't you dare put Pantoja in there.
That's exactly what I just said.
No, don't you dare.
All right. Yeah, I don't want to do that to us either.
Honestly, that could cash though. 966 with Pantoja. But yeah, you could pick another one if you want. But...
Yeah, give me Peyton Talbott.
Okay.
Plus 1695.
Okay.
I feel like
So
Robocop is a little safer than
It is.
Peyton, but
It
All
is
right.
for
What's I don't have a bet on that fight, so that's perfect. What's it with Robocop?
966.
All right, let's do that. I'll do Robocop instead because I don't have a bet on that fight. Now, give me something to look forward to.
Yeah, honestly, I think we all agree on all these legs. So
yeah.
All right.
All right.
Cool. All right. So what is that? So that's the over of Vanille Dariush from Dravhy.
it's
Over
plus
Vanille.
105, and then the Delgado over it's plus 100 from Pepe. Van money line minus 127 from Key, and Robocop minus 220 from you.
Yeah.
So
now
plus
when
960.
Hermansson takes him to the swamp and finishes him in the third round. That's we know how that happens.
That's not gonna happen.
You said plus 966.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, guys, that's the show. Like, comment, subscribe, join our Discord. We're crushing a ton of bets. Key or Dravy, you go first since you got to get out of here. What's your deal with your OddsShopper?
Yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy right now. And OddsShopper's been uploading the full card breakdowns, a new format, way more cleaner from the people in there. You know, I give out bets for the fights that I bet on, but I also give lean on the fight that I don't bet on, and I have breakdowns as well on them for the UFC. So you can use that to make your own bet when you follow me. And you know, been crushing this year. You know, I'm like 68 unit profit. I have 2 bets PFL tonight, and then you know, a UJ UFC slate. I have a max bet this week. I'm not gonna give it out on the podcast, but if you want to, you know, join the team, hit me up on Twitter in my DM. Let me know you're watching the podcast, and if you are and you're not in the team, me or Key right now, I mean, you've been missing out on a lot of money, honestly, because we've both been cashing a lot since we've been doing this podcast. And for the price we charge compared to other cappers, I think it's worth it on both of our side. Key is more like you do more things outside of the money line and all of that. He does a lot more things. So like if you sub to both of us, you will be up like maybe 100 unit this year, something like that. If you combine our results, so yeah, get in.
Yeah. Pepe, do you sell picks or what do you do? I don't even know.
No, I don't. I'm not pushing anything, but if anyone has like a punted in DraftKings account that they can help me get down at, I would be happy with that.
Pepe,
follow
hit my
me
line,
on
bro.
Twitter.
Hit my line. I already help out Dogfather. Hit my line. Let me know what you need. I got you.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter and DM me.
Yeah. Hey, what do you got going on for your Dubclub?
Yeah, Key3Picks. First off, shout out to Pepe for coming on the pod. We popped his BTL cherry. We'll get him back on soon. It was dope having you on. No pause. Let's make it as weird as possible. But for UFC 317 and International Fight Week, I have 33% off of all packages. I'll have a tweet out later pushing out the codes for all that. Members already have access. I have 4 money lines locked in, better prize pick slips, live bets in the Discord. Getting down on a lot of good shit right now. Some more cards coming up. The summer's heating up, so now's a perfect time to join. So yeah, it was a great pod. Let's cash some tickets this week.
Banger of a card.
Getting down on good shit. He's always getting down on good shit, man. It's unbelievable. But all right, boys. Thanks for joining us, Pepe. We will catch you guys in. I'll throw something together next week for a look ahead for you guys. Because I know you guys are going to be bored next week, and I'll be bored too. These guys won't be here. You know they don't care about you like Peg do. All right, peace.